Hello! This game was so much fun. Was not feeling great, so delayed a little bit, but this game I wanted to record so badly right after because the raw emotion of everything that happened behind this comeback Vegas Golden Knight 5-4 win in overtime was just magnifique, especially because pardon my French. Overall, in general, for the first two periods, I was really upset with the way that Vegas was playing because they were still doing decently. We ended the second period up 2-1, but they weren't playing up to the standard that they should be able to play with, this roster specifically, against the Seattle Kraken. No offense to them, they did magnificent things last year, but this year, they just ain't it. I'm saying this knowing fully well that this team shut out this team 3-0 in the game where they both wore these jerseys, but, and they're like neck and neck for the second, well, not neck and neck. The pure devastation of the Seattle Kraken, why I said that weird hockey fan base with this loss, with the blown 2-goal lead in the last 8 minutes, just the whole shebang absolutely sucks for Kraken fans, and I am not happy about that specifically. I'm just happy that Vegas won 2 points. They're not cemented into the playoffs, but this game was a huge swing in that factor, and we're gonna get to it. But first period and most of the second period, Adin freaking Mountain was back. He played phenomenally the first 40 minutes and was the absolute reason why it was 2-1 at the end of the second period. That first goal Seattle had, nothing on Adin Hill for that, because it was a beautiful passing play from the Seattle Kraken throughout the offensive zone that ended up with Burakovsky burying it, and a complete defensive breakdown because of how amazing this play was from Seattle. So hats off to Seattle for that. No foreshadowing this time. But by the way, that happened in the second period. The first period was 0-0, and it was just a really good goalie battle. And Vegas started the second period absolutely poor, and then they picked it up the second half. And it, of course, on the power play, none other than Jonathan Marchessault. His contract just keeps getting higher. It just stonks this entire season, I swear. Beautiful pass from Barbashev, and that puck was in and out of the net faster than my kid reacts to the Bluey theme song. Da 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 da. And I don't know if this trend is just me or whatnot, but it seems like off of the face-off goals and win a Vegas Golden Knight game are always for the other team and never, ever, ever for the Vegas Golden Knights. Until tonight. With 5 minutes left to go in the second, William Karlsson wins a puck. I'm not even sure this puck hits the ice. It like flies over and Dorofeev just bats the thing, I think, out of the air. Maybe as it's hitting the ice, he, I don't know, one-times this thing and it goes in. Right off the draw past Grubauer to make it 2-1 Vegas. Phenomenal stuff. And Pavel Dorofeev, he has 9 goals in 31 games. He's 16 points, so just over half a point a game. But he has 4 goals in his last 6. Absolutely tearing it up, and is just, I don't, how do you take this guy out? Cool, we don't have to worry about that for now, I think. Maybe Carrier might be back, I don't know, we'll see. Right when you're thinking, where's Matty Beniers? There he goes, Matty Beniersing like he's never Matty Beniers before against the Vegas Golden Knights, because he scores 2 minutes into the third period. Tomas Tatar, Vegas Golden Knight legend, got the secondary assist. Will Borgen from the point sends it on. Matty Beniers tips it past Hill. What can you do on a tip? What would you do if the puck got tipped? Absolutely nothing, and it goes in. It's tie game 2-2, and then it's 3-2 just like that. Speaking of former Vegas Golden Knights, off the draw at center ice, a couple of minutes later, and Seattle wins it, gets into the zone. Bellemare sends it on from the slaw on a rush chance, and it's tipped in. The goal was credited to Tanev, even though I was 99% sure it was Bellemare's, because I don't see where Tanev tipped it, but obviously Tanev tipped it. Kyler Yamamoto, Tyler Okamoto, same similar names, and so he got the secondary assist, and that's just, yeah. Speaking of off the draw, Vegas wins a face-off draw in the offensive zone. And it immediately goes the other way for a basically breakaway for Bjorkstrand, cherry picking just a little bit because he books it immediately, which, I mean, hey, smart play, ended up in a goal, obviously, but cool. And he flies up the ice. Hanifin and Petro both weren't able to get back in time, and he buries one past Hill, and you'd like Hill to make that save. He didn't. is what it is. It's 4-2. And I'm like, all right, well, that's good. I wasn't feeling good anyway. Don't have to watch the rest of this game because, you know, I'm just not feeling great. And then I hear there's a goal. And I look back on the screen and William Karlsson scored. Theodore is facing the boards. So just like absolutely just, and getting pressured from behind. not great in this setting. What? Okay. Sends a backwards Hail Mary pass over to the other point, which is Braden McNabb. Beautiful feed from Theo there because we haven't seen enough of those since his return. And McNabb pulls a Martinez, Theodore from the playoffs a couple of years ago, where he absolutely winds up. Looks like he's gonna blast it home. I'm not a lefty. Looks like he's gonna blast it home and doesn't. He draws everyone over, sends the pass over to Karlsson, who freaking buries it. William Karlsson. Big goal. We're one down at like 40 seconds after that Bjorkstrand goal. And so it was a fantastic turnaround. And it's like, oh, maybe they're not out of the woods just yet. Not in the clear yet. Good. Seattle hems Vegas into their own zone with less than 2 minutes to go, and they keep having this pressure. And it's like, guys, what are you doing? You're not grabbing the puck. You're not letting Adin Hill escape the net. What? You guys gotta get possession of the puck. And it's like, oh, time is winding down. You guys suck at 6-on-5 because you've only scored 1 goal 6-on-5 so far this season. And they finally do. They get possession. They dump it in deep, and Adin Hill goes to the bench. We have 6-on-5, and there's a couple of icings, and time just keeps going down. Seattle gets the puck behind the net. They try to clear it. Eichel keeps it in. Huge play from Eichel, because that shot was rifled around the boards, but he grabbed it, sends it up towards the net, and Stevenson, with a between the legs one-touch pass behind him over to the wide open 37 goal scorer, Jonathan Marchessault. Why is he wide open? Out of all the 6 Vegas Golden Knights on the ice, that is the one that you don't leave open. Chaos and all that, but holy moly. And he freaking buries this one. And Grubauer is down on the ice, head down, just sits there for a bit because like the momentum. Vegas ties it, and they go into overtime. Vegas starts with possession. They have a couple of opportunities. Grubauer stands on his head. Good for Seattle. And then Seattle gets the puck, and they have this opportunity where they're going up to the net, but Alexiak is up, and I'm like, that's interesting. And they have pressure for a bit, but they're not able to get a really good shot off. There's one opportunity where they, but Hill back to Mountain, and he held on to the fort. And there were a couple of times where I thought we were gonna have back-to-back hat tricks for Jonathan Marchessault. But no, sad, but also anything to keep his AAV down. I don't even, we're at the point where it could be even 10, and that's just ridiculous. I like love the dude, and we need to pay him, but Petro has an opportunity. He's on a 2-on-1 with Karlsson, and he shoots it, and I swear it went in. Petro thought it went in. He celebrated, nope, off the bar and out. And because Petro was going that way, he's the defenseman on the ice, and he turns around, and he's got to skate back, and he backchecks so hard, despite the fact that he is so gassed. Thanks, Vicky. 2-on-1 the other way, and Seattle is this close to just nail in the coffin, and they win the game. But because of Petro's efforts, he gets that stick in there and blocks a pass on a 2-on-1 towards the back door of the net. And I don't know what would have, I don't know if it would have went in, I don't know if Hill would have made the save, but because of that effort, he then goes and collects the puck and just lobs the thing super high into the sky and plops it down, and it's Jack Eichel and William Karlsson in front of Bjorkstrand grabbing the puck, and Eichel streams in. He had more speed than Bjorkstrand, and we're gonna get to it, but he snipes it past Grubauer and completes the comeback with the overtime game-winning goal, his 200th of his career. Phenomenal. And yes, we gotta give praise to Marchessault because of course, and Eichel because yes, but Petro also. I know that this fan base is kind of torn on him, and they think that a lot of the goals are his fault and whatnot, and I agree with some of those assessments, but he is a one-pair defenseman for a reason. He is a really good defenseman, and he showed it there in overtime. Between the whole, like he skated up 200 feet, almost scored, it was off the bar, skated back 200 feet, the amazing pass. which was contended a lot. And I don't think people realize the angle. I had one Oilers fan that admitted that he was wrong and deleted his post, which, holy moly, you are 1 in a million, sir. Hats off to you. I didn't know you existed. I'm just being, and I'm being 100% serious when I'm saying, like, hey, W for you, man. Because it was contested that Karlsson was holding onto Bjorkstrand's stick, and that's a penalty, 100%. That would be a penalty, except it never happened. William Karlsson's hands never left his stick. And you can see it on this other angle, and fun. And then they were like, okay, but what about interference? And they both had body position and were in front of Bjorkstrand. And that's not interference. Interference, I don't get it. They were all going for the puck, and Karlsson and Eichel are in front of Bjorkstrand, and Bjorkstrand tries to go in between. You're not supposed to give up the space to him. That's not what interference is anyway. Maybe next time, instead of complaining about a fraudulent team winning in overtime, despite the fact that none of those last 3 goals were power play goals, I might add, don't blow a 2-goal lead with less than 8 minutes left to go in the 3rd period. I don't know, just me, maybe. What a win! Absolutely, 100%. I am so pumped. And that was a 3-point swing, because it was gonna be 2-0 like points to the Kraken, and it ended up being 2-1. But Vegas gained 2 points and Seattle lost 1. So 3-point swing there, and now we are 9 points ahead of them. Which at this point in the season is a really tall task. Definitely not impossible, but Vegas's competition over the next little bit is also not difficult. Obviously, they have to win. And with how this team performed like 2 games ago, 100% in question. But the way that this team rallied in the last 10 minutes of the last 2 games to beat the Red Wings in regulation and then to come back and beat the Kraken in overtime gives me a little bit more hope than I think if they had just held on to a 2-1 win against the Kraken last night. We're gonna have to see, and obviously we can't rely on comebacks in the last 10, or even just getting the game in order in the last 10 minutes of the game. Starting on time and playing through that second period is gonna have to be something that Vegas is going to be able to start doing, and hopefully riding this into the playoffs where they can have that hotness in that, hey, we know what we're doing and we're confident into the playoffs, because I'm pretty sure that that's going to be huge, if not the difference maker in whether or not they're able to repeat. Jonathan Marchessault, what a dude. Every time in clutch, he delivers. I know it's a bad memory, but 5 years ago, and the 2019 series against the San Jose in round 1, game 7, when we blew 4 goals on 1 power play. Even though the power play was fraudulent, you shouldn't give up 4 power play goals at all. That despicable, 100% disgraceful. The reason it went to overtime at all in that game is because Jonathan Marchessault, in the dying minute of that game, was able to score and get us to overtime, which is often overlooked because of how all the thing ended, whatever. But he consistently seems to be the one to score these goals in crunch time that are the huge difference makers. Not only add on to the fact that that's 37 this year, 5 in his last 2 games, which is a Vegas Golden Knight franchise record to have 5 goals in 2 games for any player, which is a little sad, but also, hey, congrats to Marchessault for that. Jack Eichel is our overtime machine. LA, I don't know. I made this video last year when he beat the Jets in overtime, and I feel like he just does things with open ice that Vegas has never really been able to have before. So holy moly. And he has 6 points in his last 2 games. Heck yeah. Shea Theodore, point a game since he's returned. All of them assists, but hey, we'll take what we can get. Circumcision at its finest. Suspicious? No. Thanks so much, Bissonnette. Purposely spreading misinformation. I swear it was the NHL's decision to just, hey, have clicks, because no one in that actually believes in all that, actually understands the cap. I'm not saying that I'm an expert, but like, for as little hockey knowledge as I have, I understand that everything that Vegas is doing is completely illegal, which you can argue whether or not that the CBA needs to change and all that, but it's not Vegas's fault. Banger of a win. And hey, don't worry, you'll always have the first shutout in Winter Classic history, am I right, Seattle? Next game, tomorrow night against the Flames, could be tonight depending on when you're watching this. I will be streaming it on the PSF app, as if I hopefully still feel good, and it should be fun, you know? And hopefully we're able to continue our winning ways against Calgary, and hopefully Noah Hannafin scores 4 goals his return to Calgary. I can hope, right? Anyways, that's gonna be it for Game 65's nightly review. Yep, and hey, now we're tied for the Kings, and they have no games in hand. Hot dog. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.